Yo, what's going on, guys? In today's video I want to show you the results of the Metamorph test. And to be honest, I personally am not the biggest fan of the Metamorph. The last time I found Metamorph was probably actually during the Metamorph League itself. But this league, someone actually during one of my streams in my chat told me that I should try it. And I actually checked the prices of the catalysts. And after I did it, to be honest, I agreed with him, and this is why I decided to try it out. So normally, after like 1 month of the league, all of these like cheap catalysts are like 5 for 1 chaos, maybe even 10 for 1 chaos, depending on which one. But as of right now, as you can see here, for example, Turbulent is 2.5 for 1 C. And some of them are like 2 for 1 C, some of them are 3. So they are actually pretty expensive, and especially the expensive ones, so like unstable, they go for like even up to 20 C. And let's say a fertile one, which is not that uncommon, they go for like 6, 7, depending on the moment, I guess, and the amount. So yeah, catalysts are pretty expensive right now, so I decided to give it a shot and see how good they actually are. So what I did is I did 2 tests, because I wanted to check out, is it worth it to use Gilded Metamorph Scarab, or should you just stick with Polished? Because Gilded Metamorph and or just overall Gilded Scarabs are pretty expensive because of the Harvest Craft, changing Scarabs into different Scarabs. Because of that, there is not a single cheap Gilded Scarab, because you can just exchange them into the expensive one. So normally Gilded Metamorph Scarab would be like 2 chaos per, I would say, in the past few leagues, but this league, because of this craft, they are pretty expensive. And polished are like 3 for 1 chaos, so they are pretty much worthless. You can buy as many of them as you want, and you're not gonna waste any money. But gilded, like I said, are pretty expensive. So I did 50 maps just to see if it's actually worth it. And gilded, the only difference is that it's gonna give you that every single sample is gonna have the reward. So we're gonna see that in the example that I'm gonna show later. And polished is only gonna give you the duplicated itemized sample, and gilded obviously has it as well. So for this test, I decided to go for a race course, because when you're doing Metamorph, you preferably want to do a map that has 3 bosses, and usually people would do that in City Square. But unfortunately, this time, this league, City Square is not on the Atlas, so a race course, in my opinion, is the best option this league. And unfortunately, because of that, I couldn't really buy that many of them, so I actually had to farm them myself mostly. I think I bought like half of them I bought, half of them I farmed, because not that many people are putting the race course as the favorite map. And because of that, I also went a little bit more for the map sustain in terms of my Atlas tree, which I'm gonna show you in a second. So yeah, race course because of 3 bosses, because you're gonna get better rewards from Metamorph, and you're gonna get more itemized samples. And in terms of sections, I went for catalysts are duplicated, and on top of that, I also went for a Gilded Scarab section, because like I said in the video when I did the Gilded Scarab test, you can just include it in pretty much any strategy, and it's just gonna be additional profit. And a lot of people are saying that after I made the video, price of this section went up to 40C, so it's no longer worth it. But I just wanted to show you that yes, it's still definitely worth it, and you should still definitely go for it. Okay, so last thing is the Atlas tree. So this is basically the tree. I went for a lot of increase effect of modifiers and quantity, because the loot you get from the Metamorph depends on the quantity. So I went for that. On top of that, I went for the Seance because of the Gilded Scarab and all of the Metamorph, well, most of the Metamorph passives. So the most important one, in my opinion, is this one. 30% chance that the Metamorph rewards will be duplicated, and here additional 3% per point. And to be honest, I don't know if this is separate duplication multiplier than the this one. So can it basically duplicate twice, or is it only once? I'm not too sure, to be honest, but still this also duplicates other rewards, so not only catalyst but also currency and so on. So this is pretty important one. The second one is this one, which is going to give you an additional itemized sample, which you can later use in a Tane lab to get some additional rewards. And to be honest, you're gonna see it in the test results. I don't think these samples are actually that good, but still getting additional one is decent. And next one is you're gonna be able to assemble additional Metamorph after you kill one. And to be honest, first one is the most important one, so this one is also not crazy important in my opinion. And the last two, I actually didn't went for them because, to be honest, this one, chance for the Rogue Metamorph is actually completely useless. Rogue Metamorph most of the time is not dropping anything and it's only 20%, I guess a little bit more with small ones, but small chance to get him, and most of the time it's not gonna drop anything anyway, so I decided to not go for it. And this one gives you a chance for Metamorph, and we already have a 100% chance because of Scarab, so this doesn't do anything. And I went for these points only when I was doing polished Scarabs, because when you're doing polished, not every single sample has rewards. So with these three, you're gonna get some additional rewards, and on top of that, here you have 3 more, I guess 2 more additional samples have rewards. So yeah, when I was doing Gilded, I removed this and I went for more quantity here and the increased chance for the altars. So other than Metamorph and Seance, to be honest, I just went for whatever I just wanted to do. And I actually went for the Harvest, because Harvest Life Force right now is pretty expensive. So just getting a lot of free harvests from time to time is actually worth it in my opinion, if you just have a lot of spare points. So I went for some additional chance here, harvest points in here and in here. And I actually, unfortunately, couldn't go for Stream of Consciousness for 50% more base chance for extra content because I'm using Scarabs, and this basically disables all of your Scarabs. But I still went for the Harvest nodes and blocking everything except for the Harvest. And you actually can block Metamorph because this just blocks additional chance for Metamorph, so Scarab still works. And like I said, I wanted to go a little bit more for the map sustain, so I went for Singular Focus, 200% chance for favored maps, and here for a higher chance for higher tier maps. I wanted to go for these ones, but unfortunately I ran out of points. And the rest of the points are essences, just from some additional rewards and better chance for more rares for the touched monsters, 20% chance for map bosses to be duplicated, because this way you get more samples for the Metamorph from bosses. And I went for the green influence, and to be honest, this is not as important. You actually can completely ignore it if you feel like it. And that's basically the whole tree. And now let me show you the map example. So first thing I was doing is I was chiseling them for 20%, then alchemy, and then I was rolling all of them for at least 80% quantity. And then I would use the sextants. And this time let's use Gilded Metamorph for an example. And I went for this influence and nothing else basically. So let's see, maybe hopefully I'm gonna get the harvest. I'm also gonna show you how much profit you can get from harvest. In terms of clearing the map, I would always look for the free Scarabs and for all of the Metamorph samples. And as you can see, my build is not the best at this strategy, because if you had like a very good clear build, you would be able to go through a map much faster. And this is why I usually don't do Metamorph as my main strategy, because I don't really like full clearing map. I usually go for some kind of fast league mechanics that only require you to do like one thing. You don't have to clear that much, so yeah, I don't really like this one. But still, it doesn't take too long to find all of the samples. And I found all of the free Scarabs. Now let me finish all of the samples. So we are almost at the end of the map. Fortunately, Race Course is a pretty small map, so It's easy to do it. And here, as you can see, there are 3 bosses. So in here you can see all of them. So 3 unique samples at the end. Okay, so map is cleared. Now let me show you how I was assembling Metamorph. So first, the most important thing, you always want to go for the catalyst, and there is always gonna be one catalyst reward. And as you can see, even with Gilded Scarab, all of the samples have reward, and there's still not a single second catalyst reward. This is why I actually don't think Gilded is that important, because I can definitely tell you when I was doing the Gilded Scarab, maybe like 10% of the time I would actually find second catalyst reward. And to be honest, everything except for the catalyst in here is pretty much worthless. You're not dropping any rewards from all of the other mechanics. Maybe divination cards is actually decent, because you usually will drop like 5, maybe 10 stack decks. So after I would choose catalyst, then I would go for all of the other, basically the best samples to get as much loot as possible. Then I would also sometimes check a little bit for the God Touch mods on the rares, because you can sometimes find them, but actually during the whole test, so all 100 maps, I did not find a single God Touch monster. So let's create first Metamorph. And this is why actually this build is not that bad for the strategy, because these Metamorphs are actually crazy tanky, and my build actually has around 100 million DPS, so it can kill Metamorphs pretty easily. I still would die from time to time, so you can see here I died. And the reason why they are so tanky is, first of all, like you saw, I was assembling very hard ones. On top of that, the Sextant gives the 100% more life to them, and on top of that, the Atlas passives give 150% more life, so they are very, very tanky. So we got 3 samples. So first is guaranteed, second one is from the passive, and third one is from the Scar. And as a second one, I would just go for whatever the best rewards are here. So here I would go for Essence. Here, let's go for just gems. Here divination cards, and here currency. So you're gonna see how little of currency I'm gonna get from the currency rewards. And he's dead. Oh, I am dead, I guess. Let's finish him off. Okay, so 2 Orbs of Regret. That's pretty much it in terms of the currency reward. I got a few essences, but they are screaming, so they are not that expensive. So I pretty much got only brains from the second Metamorph. And in terms of the rewards, the organs, I mean, you are gonna get the organ depending on which unique metamorphs you chose. I can show you this again, but basically depending on which row you choose as a unique, this organ you're gonna get at the end. So for example, if you have too many brains at the end, you should stop choosing brains as a unique reward. Obviously, if you have like catalyst, you would still go for the brains, but I didn't prioritize that much getting the correct organs. And definitely the one that I was getting the least of was ice, so I definitely can recommend going for more ice. And here, let me actually show you, here are all of the samples that I got from the Gilded Scarab test, and here are all of them from the polished. And I would say up to like here, these were pretty much all of the ones that had rewards. And everything above that, I would just sell to a vendor for basically 3 to 1 to get some other samples. Maybe I actually can show you. So I would take 1 brain, 1 heart, and 1 liver, for example, if I was missing an eye or lung. These ones actually have a good reward, so currency, divination cards, and polished scarabs. I would not trade them normally, but just for an example, I can show you. And now I got eye. Unfortunately, it has only rare armors, but you get the idea. So you basically can get, if you have too many of certain ones of them, like for example in here, you saw I had a lot of hearts, you can sell them to get some other ones. and I was only keeping the currency, scarabs, divination cards, catalysts, and I think that's it. And I did kill all of them, and all of them are also included in the test results. So now let me show you the loot. So here's all of the loot from the Polish scarab test, so 50 maps, and as you can see here, I actually did not sustain my maps, so I still would have to actually buy maps. So actually, maybe I should have also went for these points, but I think I still would not be able to sustain them. So this is why I actually think the strategy would be much better with better clear build, because you would actually drop more maps to be able to sustain. Here you can see all of the gilded scarabs from the sextant and all of the catalysts. And here is just the rest of the loot, just some random stuff. I actually did drop 3 divines, and here is all of the life force. And here's a loot from Gilded, so it is actually pretty similar. You can see only like one more column of rewards, I think. Everything else is actually pretty similar. I did drop 1 divine less, so not that big of a difference. And life force actually looks fairly similar. I think I got more life force in this test, so polished was a little bit more lucky. And here is loot from the organs. So as you can see, not that much loot, to be honest. Here you can see all of the catalysts, so not that many of them, and here is just some random rewards. I did not drop a single divine, and in the gilded you can see I also did not drop a single divine. I did drop 1 unique, which costs like 30c, and here I also did drop 1 unique, which costs like 10k. So these the rewards from the organs were not that big of a deal. So now let me show you the spreadsheet. So here is first let me show you the polished. So investment is not that big, only 800 chaos, so 50 scarabs. They were pretty cheap. And here are all of the sextant. So catalyst sextant I was buying with around 7 chaos, and scarab sextant for 40 chaos. The whole test took actually only 3 hours, so it was a pretty short one, to be honest, especially since I was mostly full clearing maps, not like 100%, but yeah, you get the idea. And here you can see all of the prices I used for the test. So here are prices for the life force, catalysts, and all of the catalysts I got. And here are scarabs. And here you can see all of the organs. So how many I got? I got 44 sets, 280 organs. Then after converting the bad ones into good ones, 24 of reward. I ended up with 24 reward sets. So overall profit from them was only 490c. And you can see just overall loot was 1.5 chaos, which was mostly just some currency, essences, invitation, and so on. Organs again 490, life force almost 900 chaos, catalyst 1100, scarabs 1400, and you can see that scarab sextant is 500 chaos, so 900c profit just from the scarab sextant. So it's definitely still worth it. So in total I made 23 divines, which is actually almost 8 divines per hour, so that's pretty good. And now comparing that to gilded, it's not that big of a difference. Actually I forgot here to swap prices of the scarabs, so it should be 7 chaos per. So now you can see I actually made a little bit less profit from gilded one because I had to pay way more for the scarabs than the polished ones. So in my opinion, at the end of the day, polished are probably the way to go, but that's simply because of the prices. Normally, yes, you can go for it. If you compare, for example, the amount of loot, I got a little bit more loot from gilded, but this wasn't that big of a deal in terms of catalysts, only 200 chaos more, so again, not that big of a deal, but it's obviously also a little bit of RNG. 50 maps is not that big of a sample, so obviously I just could have been a little bit more unlucky. We will not know for sure. But yeah, that's basically it in terms of the test. If you want to know my honest opinion, Metamorph is something that you can just throw on if you are doing some kind of mapping strategy. If you are already full clearing map, I think you should, if you have also a free Scarab and free Sextant and maybe some passive points, you definitely can just throw in a Metamorph. It doesn't take too much more time to kill Metamorph at the end of the map, but obviously still you need a pretty good build to be able to kill it. And in terms of Atlas Tree, I actually don't think Atlas Tree is something needed for a Metamorph. Like I said, most of the rewards you're gonna get is gonna come from the Catalysts, and Catalysts care about the Sextant the most. And the only passives I would recommend are these because they give you more rewards, and these ones only give you additional samples and additional Metamorph, which to be honest doesn't really matter. Like I said, most of the time you're gonna get one Catalyst reward anyway, so these and also these don't really do that much. And I don't even know if the duplicated rewards stacks with the Sexton, so maybe it's actually not even worth it to go for it. I guess that would have to be another test to test if these do anything, or maybe do a test without the Sextant to see if Sextant is actually worth it. But yeah, like I said, overall it is actually a very good strategy, especially if you combine it with the Scarabs. You can make like almost 8 Divines per hour, but personally I just don't like it, so I probably still would go for strategy. Basically everything I did here, but just without Metamorph, and do some kind of fast map like Ashen Woods or Mesa. But that's just me. So yeah, for this video, thanks for watching and see you next time.